Hey everybody, this is Brad Dyke saying hi, how you doing? Today is another logic video and it's to talk about something that's very important, especially if you want to think about today's version of enterprise environments that combine Hyper-V, cloud, localized ISP services, and all these other things. It is about a discipline that is very important in operations/DevOps. And this concept is called the 3-in-1 strategy. The 3-in-1 strategy for IT operations is very clear. Before you can have a successful DevOps environment, you have to have a repeatable environment in your operations that can sustain it. Now, usually what most people do in the traditional way of coding and updating and so on is they'll have an application, they'll have some test sampling, and then they'll quality it a little bit, a little Q&A action, and then they say, okay, thumbs up, let's post it to the production and cross our fingers. That doesn't work so well, does it? So, how do you defeat that? How do you take the disciplinary structure of something, build it in a way so it's actually repeatable? That's the hard part, to be able to repeat it over and over. Well, the answer to that question is a 3-in-1 strategy policy. A 3-in-1 strategy policy is very simple. You're taking your production and you create an entity called quality or Q&A, and you create an entity called test. Now, if you're in the hyper cloud environment, let me give you an example of this. Now, of course, this can be 3 or 4 different formats, but this is an example I'll use for this discussion. Let's say you have Google, or you have AWS, or you have Azure as your environment. You want to create 3 separate account identities. One is your production. That's where your applications are running and serving your customer base. One is quality, which is a sample environment for your QA department to utilize and test coding and all of your applications and so on. And the one called the playground, known as test. Actually, that's not quite correct. Test means you've taken your playground and you're moving it into a position so it can be evaluated for quality and service so that it could come in and replace existing code on production. First you test, then you quality and control, then and only then do you bless it to send it up to production. This is 3-in-1. The 3-in-1 strategy is imperative because it actually allows you to do some easy things with no extra effort. Everybody likes that, especially managers when they hear that strategy. Basically, what that refers to is that your disciplines are being driven by your availability, and you can do it 1, 2, 3. Test, good, we're good. Production, it works. Few bug reports, less overhead, more time to develop your products. That's the secret sauce. So, before 3-in-1 can be functional, you have to have a fully compliant operations environment. DevOps is the discipline that you would want to apply to your operations environment so that when DevOps goes out and begins the process of updating test samples to the test account, and then turns around and moves those updated, new, improved versions of the test copies and replicates them into quality and tests them there and get quality and Q&A on their samples and say, yeah, you know what, this is work, it's secure, InfoSec's happy, I think we've got something here, and everybody's already learned everything in test, so there's no learning processes in quality. It's proving the metal to see how strong it is. And at that point stage, you then go to the 1, 2, 3 process of posting to production. It should be clean, it should be simple, no complications, and it all works except for the final tiny little detail that always gets operations environments. That is that you don't know your applications at each level. What they tinker around and test may have absolutely not much to do with quality, and what goes over to quality to prod is so out of phase with test, it doesn't make any sense. Hence the strategy of 3-in-1. You have to do everything first in test. Test, quality, and prod are exact copies of prod. Whatever prod is, test needs to look just like it. If it doesn't, don't go forward. Stop. Fix that. That's operations, ladies and gentlemen. You got to get that fixed first. Once you know you have a clean copy of whatever is in production, sitting in test and sitting in quality, and they all pretty much match exactly each other, for the most part, I'm talking 95% or better, then and then only can you do the 3-in-1 policy strategy. So, with that being said, another important detail to understand when you're going to implement 3-in-1 is that you have chaos. All of you do. Why? Because coders are not developers, and developers are strategists, and strategists have nothing to do with what it takes to keep things in operations. So again, oddly enough, I go back to that very real, true reality. Maintenance and operations is crucial to making sure everything is correct. So you have to stop. You have to document what you've got. What are these production systems? We don't care about anything else except production. So get some workshops. Start some workshops with your coders, developers, and ops people. Bring them together. Isolate them in the room for 6 hours once every 2 weeks. Pick 2 or 3 of your applications. Fully document them so they can be mass replicated between prod, quality, and test. You'll find that most likely you'll have to shore up quality some, but test is really out of phase. And you have to do a lot of extra streamlining to get that to work. 2, streamline your GitHub processes. Get away from the single repository strategy or the archive and the ops strategy. That doesn't work. What you need to do if you're going to follow a 3-in-1 strategy is you have to get yourself GitHub Enterprise Cloud or Enterprise. Build organizations that match the accounts. For instance, if you're on a financial entity, you would have your 3-in-1, that's production, quality, and test, or production, Q&A, and test. Then you may also have CI/CD for your DevOps people. You may have a PCI requirement for isolated credit card processes, and you may have a sandbox or 2 or 3 or 4, depending on what those sandboxes do. At that point in stage, from as far as I'm concerned, from CI/CD all the way up through PCI to test to quality or QA to prod, they all should have the same structure, which means when you bring in your Terraform or your Ansible and you bring in your Jenkins or other similar tool, and you bring in your GitHub tools and you bring in your desktop tools, and everybody is seeing the same thing over and over and over. That's a job. That's 12 months of work right there. That's if you have all of your documentation done. I won't lie to you. You're talking about on an average of 24-month period to do this. But when you do it, wow, things get organized quickly. And the design of this is self-maintenancing. It really takes a pretty not intelligent individual to make a mistake and just ignore this, because it does kind of service itself if you do it right. Now this leads you to that next big, very serious question. Can 3-in-1 strategy get me to optimization of how we're doing this? That could lead to using Jira or any of our CMDB-based help desk solutions to allow us to automate some of these processes. Now, the answer is yes, but it really means that you have to rigidly structure getting there. Once you get there, then you have some flexibility, which talks to the last key detail. Understand that you're not trying to build this way versus that way. That doesn't work. Dictating how and where we're going won't work. Teamwork will work. Team participation will help. And when we show the flexibility of that pathway, which will be a separate video, and I'll talk to that as well here, this will help you understand that it's not my way or the highway. It's your way with new options, new flexibility and malleability. That's what we're looking for. That's what DevOps is supposed to offer for operations as a discipline. Now, what I mean by that, again, I keep coming back to this. Operation mindset is a set of instruction executions, but a discipline of CapEx versus OpEx versus DevOps is how operations run. It's a discipline. It's a way of thought. Transitioning it into that format genuinely makes you quite capable of being able to reach your goals. Well, this is Brad Dyke. I'm signing off to let you guys go. I hope this helps. I've got another video I'll do on this topic, and then I'll get back to my happy, joy hardware environments, right? And jump on those opportunities and talk some about that. So anyways, God bless. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and take care. Bye-bye.